G'day everybody, Lord Kevin here. Today we're going to be looking at Manor Lords. I played a bit of this when it first came out and really enjoyed it, and I haven't touched it in a little while, and they've brought out a whole bunch of updates, so really keen to jump back in and take a look at it. So sit back, relax and enjoy. So let's jump in. So first thing we've got to do is just select our character. I'm going to pick this guy. He looks pretty cool. And keep the name, that's fine. And then we get to sort of design our flag. So let me try and go with something a little bit simple here. Dragon's always a obvious good choice. Yeah, let's go with that. All right. So the next thing is deciding, which map we want to play on. So, sorry, not the map, the scenario that we want to play on. So I think for now we'll sort of keep it at the default, which is basically conquering every territory as your win conditions. There's other one about reaching the largest town, or sort of surviving a whole bunch of attacks. And there's a whole bunch of settings you can play with. You can sort of make the game more relaxing, more challenging. I typically turn down the aggression on the AI just because they take territories really fast. But for the sake of this video, we'll leave it on balance so you can sort of see what's happening. And there's a few different maps. This was the default one that it came with when the game first came out. And then there's High Peaks one, which is the one we're going to play on. It's absolutely beautiful. But there's also sort of a Winding River one as well. Actually, we're going to do Winding River. We haven't done that one yet, so let's do that. And let's jump into it. All right. This game is just so pretty. I think one of the things that I really enjoy is that everything is animated. You'll see that as we build stuff. They've animated all aspects of sort of doing the various buildings, and there's some really cool stuff they do around the residential plots as well. So we'll take a look at that in a second. But first of all, we've got a new message here from our so that's just what we're doing. Yep. We do get a message soon from our enemy of the game. All right, let's pause for a moment and let's just zoom out and have a look. So obviously this is sort of where your starting point is. We'll sort of go through the UI in a second, but if we zoom out, this is the map. These are all the various regions that you can capture. We're sort of this region here in red, and the AI is these two regions here in yellow. And you'll see on every region there's sort of icons showing sort of what resources you have access to. So here we've got iron deposits, and you'll see for this one it says a rich resource, which just means there's a lot more of it. And there is a mechanic to basically turn this into an infinite resource. So that's a really good start for us. You've got wild berries, which are a seasonal thing, so we can get into that when we get there. We've got wild animals here as well. We've got a rich stone deposit, and we've got clay. A few other things just of note. There's fishing as well. There's salt. You've got, I think that's sort of mainly it. So I think our probably goal, given the region we've got, is going to be to really try and utilize that iron deposit as much as we can, because it'll make us some money, and then that'll make it easier for us to sort of get other territories, but we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. So our starting point is right here, right next to that, which is actually awesome. So I guess looking at the UI, a couple of things to mention. So the way this game works is it's based on families, not individual people. So it's sort of when you assign typically it would be a person to a building, you're actually assigning a family, and those families will do whatever jobs those buildings have to do. And something to note here is that you always want at least one unassigned family, because the unassigned families are the ones that will build new things. If you don't have any unassigned families, nothing's going to get built. You've got how many sort of houses you have, called burgage plots. You've got how many available living space. So right now we've got -5. We've got our total population. We've got our approval rate. Something to mention here is that if your approval rate is below 50, you will not get new citizens. So you really want to try and keep that above 50. It's going to be low at the start, but you have to build back up. We'll get into the rest as we go. There's a whole bunch of what are your resources, but let's start with getting some logging going. So let's see, we don't want to go too far from where we are, just to try and keep things close by. I think what we'll do is, sorry about that, the game actually crashed. It is still in early development, so that's all right. There's definitely so just sort of here talking about sort of fuel. Something to mention here is that food will spoil if it's not stored. And similarly, sort of your other, like your timber and stuff could, if it's exposed to weather, could dwindle as well, or get destroyed. So I think, again, let's just pause the game. It's still the same map that we're looking at. The resources are just in a few slightly different places, but that's okay. I think our goal is still the same. So I guess something to mention is let's get some wood going. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the logging camp, over here. And it talks here about, unassigned families are the ones that build things. And they do require oxen to haul materials like timber. So you'll see in here we've already got an ox. So the unassigned families will use that to deliver things like timber to building sites. They don't need oxes for everything, but especially for things like timber, it'll need it. So you definitely want to make sure you've got enough ox there. So we've got that. I guess the next thing, we've got some food over here, some wild animals. So another resource, I mentioned food and fuel before. You'll see there it says we've got 3 months of food. So we want to get that going. We don't have to worry about fuel until we build some houses, which we can wait a little bit for. But if we get this going for food, for hunting these wild animals, you don't want to put it inside of this area, because then as the pop-up says, it will cause them to migrate. So you just want to put it nearby so they can get sort of easy access to that. And I'm just going to rotate this around. Just sort of there. And then let's build a road. Yep, so this is going to explain how you build your roads. Basically, if you have a road, things will move a lot faster. And you can also curve roads. So if I grab this, we've got some roads here which we're going to try and use. And I think what I might do is I might pull a road through here. And I'm going to try and line it up. So something you can do here is I could just hit build. I can also hold down control and use the scroll wheel to change the curvature of the road if that's something I wanted to do. In this case, it's sort of pretty much curved already. So I'm going to hit build, and we've built that road there. And just to get some of these things moving, I'm going to build some roads off here as well. It doesn't cost you anything to build roads, so you might as well do it. We can obviously get rid of these a bit later. Yep, alright, cool. And that's already on the road, so that's totally fine. We do have we have some wild berries. We're not going to worry about that right now, but we can sort of build a forager hut for that. So let's just start with this. Let's get things building. And so you'll see here, there's some of the starting resource we have. So this is going to deliver this timber to the logging camp that we have. We'll get to regional wealth, which is how you can buy more oxen in the future. So what I'm going to do is let's head over here. You'll see these families are coming over here to build. So we'll just speed this up a little bit. And yeah, they just animate like so much of the building itself. It's really, really impressive. Let's slow that down. Yeah, so just really pretty watching them build everything. We have a message here from our AI enemy. There's not too much for this right now, so we'll just drag in this message and sort of forget about it. Alright, so there was a message there saying that obviously once you've built things, you have to assign people to them. So we've built this hunting camp over here, and you'll see here this is where you assign the families to it. So this one you can assign up to 2 people. We'll just assign 1 for now, and then if you ever want to see what people are doing, you'll see that show up here. You can also define sort of a work area for them, and how many wild animals they're going to leave alone to sort of repopulate. So the default here is 10, and we can see here that there's 19 out of 20. So once they've hunted 9 animals, they'll sort of stop. You can adjust that number. I generally would say just leave the setting as it is. And then same with the logging camp here. We'll assign 1... Have a look up here. This is where we can see our construction resources. So if we have a look at timber, we've got 6. So I think we'll assign 1 for now, but we might assign more if we feel like we need additional resources. We are actually going to limit the work area for now. So I'm going to use Control and scroll to make this bigger. And I think for now, let's just say... I don't know, this, yeah, sort of that area there, I think is good. We can always adjust this in the future. That'll sort of tell them what to build. Okay, so we've only got 2 months of food left, so good thing that these guys are hunting now. So that's good. And then we can see berries are starting to grow, so let's actually get a forager hut up here, get that built. So I mentioned that we really want to get this going as soon as we can, because we'll be able to sell the iron initially before we make it into something more interesting, and get some money for it. But to do that, we do need planks, which we do not have yet. So I just want to be a bit conservative with our resources for the moment. I think let's hold off on that. I think we should actually build, I'm going to build a granary and a storehouse first, so that those goods that we have don't get destroyed. So I think this can sort of act as a bit of a... I think this can act as a bit of a sort of town center here. We can change some of the stuff around in a little bit, but I think let's get the granary there, and we'll get the storehouse next to it. So yeah, the granary is going to store our food, and the storehouse is going to store all of our other goods and just sort of keep them sheltered. What we will do is, so the marketplace is another pretty important one. This is basically like where your people go to get their various goods. They don't go directly to the granary or the storehouse. And the granary or the storehouse will actually put stalls in the market. So let's just speed this up a little bit, and we can watch these getting built. Alright. So yeah, just really pretty to watch these places get built out. Just such cool animation. So again, we do have to assign people to this. We've got 3 families at the moment. So what I am going to do is I'm going to assign a family to each. And you'll see there's a pop-up here which we're going to deal with, which is basically families request more market area for their stalls. So because we've got these people assigned, they want a marketplace to sell those goods. So we'll go to the market, and we're going to build this sort of just into this area here. Now you don't need a big market initially. So you'll see here it says 3 out of 4 spaces. You really only need the 2 for now. As we get more people, we'll need more space, and we can always make another market or modify this later. But let's build that. It doesn't cost us anything, and you'll see if we give everyone a second, they're actually going to build their markets in this area. You'll see they're about to build one here. Yeah, so there are little stalls where they'll sell, various goods. Right now they're empty. Mainly because they're picking up everything from over here, but this is where they're going to sell their goods and where people are going to buy their goods from. So I think the next thing is let's build some houses. This is another really cool aspect of Manor Lords. You can sort of see here in the graphic that there's quite a lot of flexibility in what you build. You're not putting down, you're just sort of dragging an area and then just saying build houses here. So I think what we might do is let's build a bit of a road going down here. Maybe... Yeah, I think let's build a road to there. Maybe we'll build sort of around the back of the granary there. And let's go houses. And let's do this area now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make it quite a large... Okay, we don't have enough goods right now. Yeah, okay, so we might just have to wait a second to just get some logs. So you can see this forager's hut's getting built. Now we've only got 1 family at the moment. So what I'm going to do... I need to pull someone out of a building, I think... Let's pull them out of their storehouse just for the moment. So the main thing that we've tackled here is that all these goods that were just sitting on the floor are now actually stored. So let's get someone on there just so we can get some food. Some food built up because we've only got, you can see it's going up, but we don't have too much. So we can see we're getting some meat in here. We're going to get some berries. We do have obviously some food to start with, but we'll just build up a bit of a buffer and then we can go from there. I might, just because we're not building, I might just get one more person in to get us some logs. Alright, so now that we've got a bit more timber, let's actually go and build these houses we've been trying to build before. So the first thing you build is sort of what direction are they going to face. And then you sort of build how big you want the plots to be, which can kind of conform to any size. So if I just do to here right now, so this is going to build, let's just slow this down. This is going to build 4 houses with sort of these backyards, which you can use to sort of grow vegetables. There's some artisan stuff you can get into, so for it's like other resource that you can make. And you can decide how many plots you want. So you'll see it's got 3, but one of the important things is you can do this where you can see here there's one additional, there's like you can add another spot for the family on the same plot of land and have that sort of bigger backyard. So I'm actually going to just cancel that. I want to get a little bit more out of it. So I might actually just extend this road out to here so we can make this a little bit bigger. So yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, we've got 6 here. If we reduce this, now we've actually got 8. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build those. And I wanted a bit of a backyard so we can do, we can grow some vegetables and stuff, which will be another food source. But there's nothing stopping you from just going, building something relatively small. These are just properties, nothing else. I guess something to mention, and we'll get to this, when we convert, we'll sort of speed this up a bit. I'm not going to build those. I don't need that many people. When these are built, and if you do assign something to do in their backyard, like as I said, grow vegetables, you actually lose access to that family in terms of assigning them to, the logging camp or the forager's hut, because this is the thing they're doing in their backyard is like what they're focused on. So you just don't want to go crazy with that and then not have people, to work on your basic resources. So let's just zoom in here. Okay, and let's zoom in here and just sort of watch these get built. Let's get that up on high speed. Again, it's just such a pretty game, and especially watching. Oh, hang on. I have made the mistake that I was saying you shouldn't do, which is I have no unassigned families. So let's pull someone out of there. Otherwise, nothing's going to get built. We've still got a lot of berries. We're down to 11 animals, so you know what, for now, let's just turn that off. People will still be able to access the resources that are there. But at least now we've sort of got 2 families to help us build. So let's get this back up to full speed. And let's watch these to get built. All right, yeah, just really pretty to watch these build out. So I mentioned before that you can sort of do backyard extensions. So you can do carrots, chickens. There's a whole bunch of other things we can do once we unlock that later on. And we can also expand the living space because that's what we decided to build, which will allow more families to move in. So we're actually going to do that at least on 1 or 2 of these, just so we can cover the families that we have. I'm not going to worry right now about the backyard extensions. So let's just speed through this. I guess something to touch on with the happiness is, I mentioned you want to have it above 50% to attract new people to your settlement. You'll see here that there's a -5 based on homelessness. That will eventually go away, obviously, if we've got enough places, but it's just something that's going to tank your happiness for the moment. As we get higher and higher up, there's going to be other things, like other needs that people have to keep them happy. So, for example, if we click on one of these that's completed, you'll see here that amenities they want water access, they want access to a church which will build, market availability, so they want fuel, they want food, and they want clothing. So I guess a couple of things to tackle there is we'll tackle water access, fuel, and probably clothing. So just while these are getting built out, so if we look here on our supplies, we have 5 months of fuel. So that's going to be people turning timber. That's going to be based on, we would have had some firewood when we started. So let's pause here for a moment. What we want to do is we want to build a, where are we? Woodcutters. Yep. So we want to, so rather than ending up with timber, we end up with firewood. So it is a separate thing. We might chuck that down here somewhere and get that built out. And the other thing we want is water. So under residential water, so you'll see here it's showing us where all underground water is on the map. So I think right here seems like a pretty good spot. So let's build that there. And then people get access to water, and then with this firewood camp, they'll get access to firewood for their, to keep their houses warm. If anything, sort of this, you've got a tracker here of anything that's sort of happening when things get constructed. If people are asking for specific needs, you'll see here resources stolen by nearby bandits. So bandits haven't actually shown up here. It's just a bit of a game mechanic where if we zoom out, you'll see we've got these bandit or outlaw camps on the map. Basically, as long as they exist, that will happen from time to time. We will get to a stage where we can go after them and get rid of them. All right, so let's upgrade. We've got a fair bit of timber, so I'm just going to upgrade all of these to have the additional housing, just so we've got the space for people to come in. I'm going to make this well as sort of the highest priority, just sort of get that built, because you don't need to assign people for people to be able to use the well. And I'm going to, I guess another thing to mention is down here we've got sort of our seasons. So we're currently in July. We are heading towards autumn and winter, where like fuel is going to be more heavily needed. So I'm going to actually set this as high. I want this and this to get built as quickly as possible so we can start getting those resources. So we've got that well. So people will start using that. That's great. You'll notice on a few of these it's like an upgrade path. This one is so it can supply water to 50 burgage pots. Obviously we're well off that, but we can do that upgrade. And if I click on one of these houses as well, one that isn't under construction, you'll see there is also an upgrade here. Again, we've got to meet all of these requirements basically to upgrade, but we can touch on that a bit later. And like the granary can like store more, so can the storehouse, that sort of thing. Not every building has upgrades, but a number of them do. All right, so we've got this. We're going to assign someone to that straight away. And we're going to pause the forager hut because you could see that there are no longer berries. So this person wouldn't be doing anything if they're here. So that's just someone else that we can use elsewhere. I think what we're going to try and do is let's get a saw pit going. I'll put that right next to here. So this is going to enable us to get planks, which is required for a bunch of other building. But again, importantly, it's going to let us build the mining pit, which is going to let us mine this iron and use it to get some wealth. So I guess while these are building, something to touch on here is your regional wealth. So this is what you would use. So for example, I guess if we talk about resources we don't really have access to here, we don't have access to some of the higher end, maybe like military equipment, and we will be able to build some of that out ourselves at some stage. But for now we don't, so we might want to import that in, or maybe we really want to get, fish, or we sort of run out of stone and we want to get stone in. You can import that, but it costs you regional wealth to do that. We'll have a look at the trading post in a little bit. But yeah, what we can do is we can sell off this iron because we have a lot of it and start making some money from that. It's just a really good way of building up your regional wealth. Let's see, how are these going? I'll speed through some of these and we'll come back once some of these are built up. All right, so just bringing you back, we're still getting some things to build, but something I wanted to mention is we've got a few situations now where stuff is getting, there's a few things going on. The single oxen we have is being used to drag sort of timber around, but because there's only one of them, it's actually taking quite a while to sort of get through things. So for example, one of these, they're all built now, but one of them was like taking forever just to get a log because that oxen was busy sort of, say, hauling, wood back from the actual forest. So what we're going to do is, if we go into logistics, we're going to build another hitching post, and I might put that over here. And once this is built, so let's just put this as sort of the highest priority. That'll get built fairly quickly, and then if we click on this, we can order another ox. So you'll see it costs us 20 regional wealth, and someone will go out, they'll get it, and they'll sort of bring it back, but that'll take a while to come through, so we'll get that going now. Something to mention, this pop-up that's here is that people can get diseases, and so you need access to herbs, which will sort of speed up their recovery. That's actually something that happens over here in the Forager's Hut. It's an upgrade that you can get. I think is saying it because someone here is unwell. You can just let them heal, but as it says, if you have herbs, they'll heal up sort of faster. So we'll come back in a second once the sawmill is built. All right, so this is now built. Another good thing to bring up here that it's sort of suggesting is if we click on this and we go to the advanced tab, we can actually sort of define a reserve, which is basically like, how many planks do we want to build? Do we just want it to keep making as many as it possibly can? Probably not. So I'm going to say as a starting point, we've got like 20 planks. We'll increase this as we go. And we might do maybe not 40 logs. That seems like a bit much. I think let's just untick that as a reserve, but we don't want to make more than 20 planks for the moment. So we'll assign a family to this. We've got some people that have moved in, so we've actually got access to quite a good number of people. While we wait for that, let's see, can we build the trading post yet? We can. So that's what we're going to use to actually trade. So I guess another one to mention, you'll see this trade point here. So this is where your traders are going to walk to sort of initiate a trade. So for example, if we were in the middle of the map, they'd have to go all the way to the edge to get to these trade points. We've got one right here. So I'm going to build this basically on the corner, just outside of our settlement, or at least where it is now. It's a really short walk for them to get over there. So we'll get that built so we can start getting some trades happening. We are looking really good on food and fuel, so we'll leave that for the moment. But we can see that our wild animals basically replenished, which is great. right, so that's built up. So let's have a look. I'll pause it for a second. Have a look at the trades here. So you can trade. There's a whole bunch of resource. I mentioned before the sort of military stuff. So all bunch of like weapons and shields and everything you can import and export. For now, we're going to keep it simple. Something to mention, you've got these minor trades. It says here does not require a trade route. So what that means is we can set up to export, import these things, and we don't have to buy a trade route to be able to buy and sell those things. For the major trades, you need to pay for a trade route in order to use them. And the more you buy, the more expensive this gets, basically. But if you have a trade route, you'll have someone come more regularly to buy and trade those things. So for the moment, we are interested in iron, which is... where are we? Iron ore right here. So this is under the minor trade. So what we can do is we can say we're going to export this. Now we haven't got it yet, but we can just sort of set it up for the moment. And what we put in here is sort of what's our desired surplus. So this will tell us how much we currently have and how much we want to keep. So I'm going to say we want to keep, let's just say 20 for now. Again, we can change this number later, but once we get to 20, it'll start selling those off for us and just bring in some regional wealth. So I'm not going to assign anyone to it right now. Once we've got a bit more regional wealth as well, we can order a horse to help build some of that. So I think, let's see. Okay, we've got some planks now, so let's build this mine. So something to note here, it's a bit hard to see with the trees. You don't actually have to build right on top of this. A bit of a smart play is actually you can kind of, if you're good with it, you can kind of build two of them over the one, which just when you've got a lot of people, and I mentioned at the start that you can sort of turn this into an infinite resource down the line. Once you've got a lot of people, you can really start churning out a whole bunch of iron. So we're going to put this here for now, and hopefully if we want to build one in the future, we can sort of put it up here. So yep, we'll just put that there. And let's get this building, and I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to hold down control, and I'm going to curve. That's not going to let me curve the road. I think I have to do something to that effect. Yeah, that looks all right. Cool. So yeah, this is the upgrade. You do need to use a development point to unlock this ability. So touching on that for a second now, we need to upgrade to get access to the stuff. But there are all these sort of developments. They all provide different things. We can go through that later on. But the one we're looking for is this one down here. So yeah, this makes it an infinite resource, but you have to buy this development first to get to this one. Another one that I quite like is trade logistics, which basically halves the cost of buying trade routes, but we'll get into all of that later on. Yeah, we've got some more people moving in. So something to note now is we've run out of living spaces. So what I might do is I might also, just to sort of keep things moving, I might build formal housing, and I'm not going to have backyards because you sort of want to have a mixture, right? As I said before, if you have a backyard extension, you're going to lose access to have those people do other things. So it's also good just to have some houses that don't have backyards, because yeah, then you're sort of not wasting that space. And we might just continue this road sort of behind here, and we can sort of loop it back up to here. How's that mine going? Oh, that's built. Great. So let's get sort of 2 people in there. Again, just to sort of build up a bit of a, quickly start building up a bit of a surplus. Oh, there we go. So settlement increased. Great. So we actually could use a development point right now. I'm not going to. I might just sort of hold off. There's no sort of rush. There's nothing here. Like, we're not interested in doing a whole bunch of trade routes right now. We do want to get to this, but sort of this charcoal burning, while useful to have more efficient fuel, it's not going to, we don't have a whole bunch of spare people to do that for the moment. But there's quite a lot of different things you could lean into depending on like where you are on the map and sort of what your focuses are. All right, we've got a new message. So this will be about our army. So I guess that's the last thing we'll touch on in this video for today, is you can build up an army here of, you've got your footmen, you've got your spearmen, pole, archers, and crossbow. They obviously have their, strengths and weaknesses in terms of your army, and they're made up of your citizens. So you can see here that we've got 16 people available to be in the army. The game provides us with sort of 20 spears and 20 shields to start with. So what that means is we'll create a spear militia here, and you'll see it shows us that we've got, we've got 16 out of a possible 36 spearmen. We can see that if we hover over this, it says recruits are missing. So obviously we just need to have like more people, and each of those spearmen will need a spear and a shield. We can see that right now we've got 20 of each. So if we wanted to sort of make this full, we'd have to either make these or import them. For the moment, we'll just sort of leave it at that. We'll build sort of archers and stuff as we go. And a lot of that we can kind of build ourselves. So that's where we're going to wrap it up for today. Really just beautiful, beautiful game. I guess one last thing we can do is we can jump into sort of this third person mode and walk through our village, which is just like such a cool feature, and just seeing things up like really close and personal. We can jump down here, we can see all these houses and sort of everyone going about their business. We could make our way up to the mines and sort of see what that looks like. But yeah, just a really pretty game. I really like the way that the houses are built, makes it feel like you can build very, I guess, dynamic and flexible looking cities, rather than just sort of grids, like some other city builders. So yeah, next time we'll cover actually using the army to go get rid of some bandits. We can sort of start making we can actually start using our iron material to make weapons and armors and a whole bunch of other things which we can use for ourselves. We can sell it off to make some more money, and we can sort of talk about capturing regions and all that. I'm sure our friend is already very keen to capture a whole bunch more territory, which will probably happen fairly soon. So hope you enjoyed, and catch you next time.